Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to have a very interesting showdown between the two strongest physical DPS carries currently available in the Bat Family faction in DC. Dark Legion, Batman, Knightfight, and Orphan, also known as Cassandra Cain. These are two names that anyone pursuing a Bat Family lineup has to consider. But the question is, who is actually more worthy of getting your resources first? In this video, I'll break down every aspect in detail so you can have the clearest picture possible before deciding which one to build first. First, let's take a quick look at some overall stats to give you a better idea. Batman Knightfight is a Mythic Plus rarity hero, classified as both a fighter and defender, specializing in wide area physical AoE damage. Orphan is also Mythic Plus, but she belongs to the warrior class. She also deals physical damage, but is more flexible, being able to handle both single target and AoE situations depending on the circumstances. As for their defining characteristics, Batman becomes stronger the more HP he loses. He's the type of hero who takes risks for greater rewards. Orphan, on the other hand, relies heavily on an extremely high dodge rate, and every successful dodge automatically triggers a counterattack that deals damage around her. When it comes to crits, Batman focuses on buffing crit damage for the entire Bat Family team, with the increase reaching up to 60%, while Orphan buffs herself with an additional 60% crit rate and 90% crit damage after using her ultimate. Now let's dive deeper into the combat mechanics of each hero. In terms of burst damage, Batman Knightfight relies heavily on his ultimate, Knight's Reckoning, which deals 2000% ATK on the first hit. If it fails to defeat the enemy, he immediately follows up with an additional attack dealing 1000% ATK, meaning he can reach a total of 3000% ATK from a single ultimate. At the moment, this is the highest damage multiplier among all heroes in the game. On top of that, his regular skill, Whirling Verdict, also deals 900% ATK and AoE damage while simultaneously increasing his own crit rate for 10 seconds, allowing Batman to maintain a consistent crit rate throughout the battle. On the other hand, after Orphan uses her ultimate, Mark of Cain, which deals 1500% ATK, she enters a special state lasting 10 seconds. During this state, every successful dodge automatically triggers a counterattack that deals an additional 715 ATK, up to once per second. In other words, if you look closely, Batman focuses on instant burst damage within a short window, while Orphan is more focused on sustained damage over time. This means she can provide more consistent DPS if the battle lasts longer, and she manages to dodge a large number of attacks. Next is survivability, and this is probably the biggest difference between the two. Batman Knightfight has the passive Unbroken resolve, which increases his max HP by 60% and ATK by 50% right from the start. When his HP drops below 50%, his ATK receives another 50% increase, turning him into a machine that hits harder and harder as he gets pushed into dangerous situations. More importantly, Batman also has an extremely unique ability to carry the team, allowing him to remain on the battlefield for a short period, even when he should have already been defeated, giving him a chance to unleash finishing blows and turn the fight around. This is a very valuable strategic advantage because it doesn't rely too heavily on luck. Orphan, meanwhile, takes a completely different approach. She relies on an extremely high dodge rate, which can reach up to 120% dodge if the team meets the necessary conditions, along with the ability to recover HP whenever she successfully dodges or lands a crit, thanks to her signature equipment, Orphan Blades. On paper, Orphan seems to have excellent survivability, but based on my experience, this is still a probability-based mechanic. In other words, if she faces an opponent with unavoidable true damage or gets hit by hard crowd control, Orphan can find herself in danger much more easily than Batman. So when it comes to consistent damage tanking, I would give Batman a slight advantage because his mechanics are more reliable, while Orphan carries more risk, but when everything goes in her favor, she can become almost untouchable. When it comes to Bat Family team dependency, both of them need this faction, but in different ways. Orphan almost requires at least 3 Bat Family heroes to be deployed in order to activate the additional 80% dodge from her false retreat skill. Without this condition, her power drops significantly because her dodge rate isn't high enough to fully utilize her dodge and counterattack playstyle. Batman Knightfight, on the other hand, is a little more flexible because he spreads crit damage buffs to the entire team rather than being completely dependent on Bat Family. So even when you don't meet the requirements to activate the maximum bonuses, Batman can still perform well thanks to his strong base stats and his mechanic of gaining ATK based on his lost HP. In general, if you want to build a more diverse team rather than a pure Bat Family lineup, Batman is much easier to use than Orphan. Although both of them benefit from being in the Bat Family faction to increase crit rate and dodge, Batman isn't as dependent on the faction through his skill set. Now let's talk about their effectiveness in different game modes. In PvP, especially in the Brawl meta or 3v3, I think Batman Knightfight has a slight advantage thanks to his ability to turn the fight around at the last moment. When the battle is extremely close, Batman can unleash his 2000% ATK ultimate, along with the additional attack to completely change the situation in an instant. This is extremely valuable in short matches where quick decisions can determine the outcome, such as PvP. Orphan, on the other hand, shines more in PvE, especially when facing bosses with high attack speed. The more frequently the boss attacks, the more opportunities she has to dodge and continuously counterattack. Combined with the healing from her signature equipment, Orphan can stay alive for a very long time in extended boss battles without needing much support from a healer. Let me talk a little more about practical team compositions so you can get a better idea. For a F2P setup, I usually put Batman Knightfight together with Red Robin on the front line because both are good tanks for the Bat family. Batman can deal damage while staying alive for a long time and also provides crit damage support for the team, while Red Robin reduces the enemy's ATK and has strong survivability when there are multiple Bat family allies. For the three backline positions, I usually use Batgirl, Nightwing, and Red Hood Knightfight. Nightwing is almost mandatory because his ability to reset his ultimate after defeating an enemy is extremely powerful. Combined with Batman's ultimate, which can trigger an additional attack if the first hit fails to defeat the enemy, these two can clear through the enemy team very quickly. If you're willing to invest more heavily, you can replace Red Robin with Orphan. This lineup allows her to become extremely difficult for enemies to deal with, but in return, you need to invest in Orphan to at least 5 gold stars or 5 red stars to fully unlock her survivability potential. When it comes to investment value, this is probably the part many of you care about the most, especially F2P players. Batman Knightfight has his signature equipment, Night Moonblade, which enhances his overall power, while Orphan has Orphan Blades, which specifically increases crit damage and restores HP whenever she successfully lands a crit or dodge. Both of these signature equipments provide a huge power spike, but based on my personal experience, I feel that Batman can still perform well at lower star levels. In other words, you don't need to build him extremely deep before he can enter battle and provide meaningful value. Orphan, however, really needs at least 5 gold stars or higher to fully demonstrate her survivability and damage potential. If she is only partially built, she can easily become a burden to the team because her dodge rate isn't high enough while her HP also isn't high enough to compensate. So, my advice for F2P players is to prioritize building Batman Knightfight first because he's easy to use, fits into more flexible team compositions, and doesn't require extremely heavy investment to provide significant value in both damage and survivability. If you already have a stable resource foundation and are aiming for a pure Bat family team or a lineup that also incorporates birds of prey, then Orphan is the perfect piece to optimize the dodge-based playstyle and sustained burst damage over time, especially for long-lasting PvE boss battles. Overall, I believe both of them deserve to be placed in the current S+ tier. The main difference comes down to whether you prioritize PvP or PvE and how many resources you're willing to invest. That's my complete analysis of these two iconic physical DPS carries from the Bat family. If you've been struggling to choose between these two, I hope today's video has given you a clearer answer. Don't forget to leave a comment and let me know which team you're currently using. And And if you found the video helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to support the channel. I'll see you all in the next analysis video.